Okay. We're gonna try this again, right? So we've only had that happen one other time. So not bad considering that we meet monthly and 10 months out of the year. So that's a good thing. So welcome everybody to the Zoom bomb, the Pima County Reentry Coalition meeting. We're thankful that you're here. As you know, we continue to be that source that makes a difference in making sure that our reentry practitioners know what's up, what's happening, and who's doing it, and how they can get involved, or how they can ensure that folks that are part of the reentry community, because they need the help, or their practitioners can get the resources. So we keep sharing information that way. And we're made up of a hub in lieu of an executive board. Miranda, myself, and is anybody else? I know that Doyle's out of town, for Linda Leatherman, who's taken a slight leave of absence to just take care of herself, and Jennifer Estrom, and I can't remember who else is on the board. Oh, Mike Gutierrez from the Catholic Diocese is part of the hub. So we continue just convening and having the opportunity to share resources so that we can better serve our community. And we will start with George Nolan from Arizona Peer and Family Academy.
Hello. So that was probably a really good invitation to come here and speak with you guys. I get really excited about this kind of stuff. A little bit about me. I was just released from prison last Tuesday. I got out, and I had been working as an RSS for like the last 4 years in there. But prior to that, I did a whole different kind of prison time. And I had gotten in all kinds of trouble and did all the gang stuff and everything else. But in 2018, I had gotten my rights read to me for a crime I committed in prison. And I walked out of the office and I was like, man, something's got to change. I don't want to be in prison, but yet I'm doing everything I can to stay in prison. So I started making changes slowly. I started listening to podcasts, started hanging out with a different set of people. I found people that would hold me accountable, people I could have real conversations with. And the second I started having meaningful conversations on the prison yard, I realized how devoid prison yards were of meaningful conversations. We talk about rims and women and trucks, and you know, the one time we made a bunch of money on some robbery or something over on repeat and repeat. Once I started asking guys about what happiness looks like, what does success look like, what's your plans for reentry, we really started getting somewhere. And I kind of, in those moments, I found my passion, I found my purpose, and I haven't stopped ever since. So I worked up in Safford for a couple of years, then in Globe, and then I finished up the rest of my sentence for the past year at the Second Chance Center down in Phoenix. Well, as I was putting together my reentry plan, I was making connections. I made pretty good connections with DES. I take a lot of responsibility for getting the Hustle 2.0 program out to Arizona. And I had met a couple of the directors. I actually did a symposium with one of the assistant directors about 2 weeks ago on reentry and second chances through DES. And because of those connections, when I was released, I also met Maddie Bergoglio from the ION Network. And she's also an ASU professor. And she was able to link me with some other people. When I was released, I was immediately cleared to come back into prisons. I went back into a prison the very next day, and I filmed some informational videos on the Second Chance Center. And then the following day after that, I spoke at ASU to the criminology class for actually one of Maddie's classes, which for me, that was one of the public speaking, motivational speaking, transformational speaking. That's my passion. I love doing it. It's necessary. I get to tell my story and hopefully help other people realize that their history doesn't have to be their destiny. Anybody can change. And speaking to that class at ASU, that was the first time I didn't speak to people that were necessarily severely justice impacted or even locked in that building. They were there on their own and learning, and they're going to be future leaders in law enforcement. So it was a very, very different experience for me. I enjoyed it. After Maddie's class, I went to Globe Prison on Friday for the Hustle 2.0 event, and we spent the day there. And they had 150 business coaches from all over the world come in and speak to the inmates about. They would give them like sales pitches, entrepreneurial pitches. They teach them how to tell their story. Like, for example, if I showed up at your office and said, "Hey, my name's George. I just got out of prison. I'd like a job." Or if I said, "Hey, my name's George. I made a whole bunch of bad choices when I was younger, and I went to prison because of those. But while I was in prison, I worked on my degree. I became a recovery support specialist. I found my passion and purpose in changing lives. I've helped over 300 people find jobs before they left prison. And I found absolutely what I was looking for. I hope to continue that with your company." The difference in those two stories is it doesn't even need an explanation. So teaching people that have backgrounds that are in environments that don't promote high self-esteem, that don't promote self-worth, that don't promote pro-social behaviors, it's extremely necessary. If you ever want to see somebody who's incarcerated squirm, ask them what the best thing about them is. They can tell you how big of a dope fiend they are. They can tell you how bad of a dad they are. And this is stuff that I used to say, how bad of this I am. But you ask somebody what the best thing about them is, in the very beginning, they have no idea. And it takes a little while once you get that door open to have those conversations and for them to actually believe what they're saying. Because if you say, "Well, you're a pretty nice guy," they're just going to parrot that and say, "Hey, yeah, I'm a pretty nice guy." And it doesn't even come across as believable. But being able to, through motivational interviewing, use questions to get them to realize what their strengths are and be able to see some of the blind spots that they were missing, what's back in there. It's a very, very rewarding experience. When you do transition out and I planned for all kinds of stuff. I had my job lined up. I did 3 1-hour interviews because I was at the Second Chance Center. I had my healthcare taken care of. I knew I was going to get put on access, the food stamps, most of the tangibles were in line for me, and I had to work really hard to make that happen. It's also because I worked in reentry, I was familiar with a lot of the resources, so I had a little bit of a head start. However, even though you can plan for some things, you can't be ready for everything. And my very first day out, I had a misdemeanor warrant in Glendale, which I did not know about until right before I got out. But I wanted the prison clearance. So I got out of prison. My friend picked me up. I drove straight to Glendale Court in the clothes my family had sent me. Well, I had been wearing Velcro belts for the past 9 years. Well, the belt they sent me has a fastener on it, which I didn't know about. So I'm trying to clear the scanner, and I can't take my own belt off because I've never operated a belt like this before. And a Glendale police officer had to actually show me how to remove my belt. I have a pretty good sense of humor. I've done a lot of work. My coping skills are where they should be. And I was able to get through it. Even though it was uncomfortable, I got through it. But a situation like that could have sent somebody who's not prepared, who hasn't worked on themselves, who hasn't facilitated their own personal development, and they could have just thrown their hands in the air at that point and said, "Screw it, I'm not going to tell another guy that I don't know how to take my own belt off," and they could have walked away and got arrested on that warrant a few weeks later. It's the little things like that. Even the credit cards I still don't even know what they're called, the chips that are in them where you tap them. I've never seen that before. So I'm sliding my card, and the lady's like, "No, you got to stick it in there." And I had no idea what she was talking about. Finally, she had to take the card from me and show me how to do it. Those little moments, I call them like sliding glass door moments because they're brief. But those little moments, if you're not prepared for them, man, that could be the beginning of the end. We can teach about resources. We can teach about where to get a job. I've been released from prison before with $21,000, and I was back in a year and a half because my skill set wasn't right. My mindset wasn't right. I had some money. That's awesome. I didn't even spend it on drugs. I didn't relapse till probably a year down the line, but it was a ticking time bomb. As soon as I got fired from my job, that was my excuse. I said, "Oh man, I got fired." People get fired from their jobs all the time. I got fired from my job, so I was able to give myself permission to return to criminal behavior. It's very important, in my opinion, that we start focusing on the coping skills. We start focusing on the mechanisms that people are going to promote self-belief, that no matter what happens, like I know if I walk out here today, no matter what happens, I'm going to figure it out. I know that's going to happen. I know things are going to be hard, but I'm going to figure it out. And the only way we can do that is through confidence, through talking to people the right way, through strengths-based motivational interviewing, helping people discover what it is about them, what their strengths are, so they can get through whatever it is they need to get through. And a huge other factor is a lot of people talk about people having high levels of discipline and they just stay out of that. Well, most of those people that have those high levels of discipline, it's because they avoid the higher risk situations. They're not going back to their old neighborhood. They're not going back to their mom or their sister or their brother or their girlfriend who still uses substances. They're separating themselves from most of that. So teaching people it's a numbers game. The more you can reduce your risk, the greater chance you have of success. And that's kind of what brings me here today, is just to be able to share with you guys whatever information I can give you and hear what it is that you guys are doing out there. Maybe some way I could be of service in the future.
That's so incredible. Thank you so much for sharing all that, George. Could you share a little bit about what you're doing? I know you're going around speaking, and also just kind of the work that you're involved in right now, or if you have any like events or anything, any news?
Sure, absolutely. So I got hired as an RSS. When you work in mental health or any helping profession, you have to do a certain amount of continuing education every year, a certain amount of hours. And the people that were delivering that service to us while we were incarcerated was the Arizona Peer and Family Career Academy. So for like 3 years, I've been emailing Haley, hey, I want to come work for you guys when I get out. Oh yeah, hit me up when you get out, hit me up when you get out. And then I got to the Second Chance Center and she's like, well, can you do an interview? I said, absolutely. And I did 3 one-hour interviews over Google Meets. One was just like a get to know you interview. The second one was me presenting on actually motivational interviewing. I taught an hour class on that. And then the third one was us just crossing all the T's and dotting the I's on what my reentry was going to look like. And I actually officially start work for them Monday. But as an employer, they couldn't have been more supportive. She asked me, and this is another one of those sliding glass door moments where she asked me, hey, what's your favorite color and shirt size? I've worn orange 2X shirts for so long, I don't even know if that's translates to the like regular shirts. It does, but I didn't know it at the time. And so I took a day to answer that question. I said, hey, let me get back to you, because I hadn't thought about what my favorite color was in so long. And it's just having that kind of support from her. She took me when I got out and bought me some dress slacks and some collared shirts. And it was a good thing, because the day she brought me that collared shirt, I got invited to a dinner that night with a man named Joe Moglia, who sold TD Ameritrade to, I think, Merrill Lynch for like $26 billion. And I got invited to a dinner with him and some of the other business coaches from Hustle 2.0. And thank goodness I had a collared shirt to wear to it. You know, it was a really, really great event. I got a lot of good advice from those guys, a lot of input, and every single one of those people were extremely bought in to reducing recidivism, to helping people move forward in their life. When we talk about people that are coming out of prison, words you hear a lot. You hear substance use, you hear recovery, you hear 12-step, you hear all this stuff. And it's pretty stigmatizing. To be honest with you, prison kind of beats it into you a little bit by people who don't care whether or not you're successful. So the whole thing can get kind of convoluted. When I talk usually to guys that are justice involved or incarcerated individuals, returning community members, whatever stage you're in, I talk about personal development, because at some point, everybody most likely wants to be better. Even if I've had one guy in the whole time I've been doing this, and it's so funny this stuff happens, who told me he's as good as he can get, he never needs anything, and he's completely happy with his life. That was about 2.5 years ago on Globe. I'm not making this up. Today, he called me. He's like, man, I'm so glad you're out. We need to talk. I need to have a conversation with you. That same guy, the only guy who's ever told me he's been out for over 2 years. And he just hit me up today on Facebook Messenger. And it completely, he's a very nice guy. He wasn't receptive to anything. But planting those seeds early on, you're not going to get those wins in the moment. You're not going to have a guy say, oh my God, thank God you came and talked to me. You're saving me. That's awesome. Let's do exactly what you say. That never happens. But we plant the seeds, and hopefully if they're able to realize on their own what it is they want, what it is they need, and what it is they want to apply the assistance for or to. When it's their own idea, the chances of them following through is so much better than someone telling you, hey, man, stop drinking, get a job, this kind of stuff. The ownership in those moments is extremely important. And like today, that up until today, 8 months was my longest stretch where a guy finally came back and said, all right, man, let's have a conversation. But now it's got to be at least 2 years. And this guy was so happy that I was out, so he had someone he could trust to talk to. It's got nothing to do with me personally. It's just he has somebody that's reliable that he can talk to, that he knows he's gonna listen. And that was pretty awesome. I'm glad that happened today.
That's such an amazing coincidence. And yeah,
Yes.
I think that's such a really good reminder of planting seeds, and you might not see, the growth right away. And especially with reentry, most of the individuals here, we all work in reentry. And even though we have a passion and a drive for it, sometimes it can get lost. And, we get so bogged down by like the system and like fighting against it, like I personally want to like burn everything down and like start all over and like make it better. And it's a good reminder, like he came back after 2 years. That's incredible. And, who knows where it'll go from here, but you obviously impacted him enough that he did feel safe with you. And, that's kind of all of our positions when we're working with people in reentry, is providing a safe space and providing those resources. Thank you so much. Your story is so cool. I love hearing it. Does anybody have any questions for George, or is there more, George, you would like to share?
If anybody has questions, that would be great. I think we're
It's
We
okay.
might have
You know
topped
what?
out.
I don't know if Tom Cortese is on. I see you, Sam, but I would love to be able to connect you. We've been trying to connect you, Danny, to a podcaster so we can talk about some of your story, because I think that when you're first out of prison, it's just so real.
Right.
Like the tapping the credit card, how do you work keeping your darn belt? How do you go shopping, So yeah, I'd love to be able to connect you with Tom so we can try to get you a podcaster with the agreement that you let us share it at the federal prison.
Yeah, absolutely. Anything I do, you can share wherever. I don't care about any of that stuff.
Yeah. Sam?
Yes. Hey, George, how I must have missed the earlier description of how long you have been out of prison.
I got out last Tuesday.
Oh, wow.
It was National Unicorn Day. I just want you to know that, because it was my birthday and I found that out that day and I thought it was amazing. And so you got out on a really cool day. Just wanted to throw that
That's
out.
awesome. Thank you for sharing that.
National Unicorn Day. That's good.
Sorry.
Oh, that's phenomenal.
There's a Lisa Valenzuela in the waiting room, Araceli, and I'm just scared to let anybody in right now.
I think she's with Pasquayaki.
Thank you.
Oh, my word.
Congratulations on your release, by the way. Kudos.
Yes.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. I was on LinkedIn last night, and a detective who arrested me 3 different times reached out to me, and I was pretty scared about that, but he actually invited me to go do a podcast with him, which I thought was cool.
Yeah, especially in Tucson like this, you get a lot of people who just will spread the wealth of that. So my name is Kenny. I run the Second Chance Center down here in Tucson, and I also have the RED program. So I was at a Phoenix West graduation, I think roughly about 2 months ago, I think, and I didn't come across you, but I was just kind of just a fly on the wall. But the reason why I'm talking right now is because I would like to invite you to a graduation for the RED, our virtual program. We're always looking for people to say, I've been in your shoes. I just got out, just kind of that stuff. So keep an eye out for an email from my side to invite you if you're interested.
Absolutely. What'd you say your name was?
Kenny Curiel, Curiel.
Cool. I got you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, man.
Yeah, no, and I was just going to say, welcome home, and yeah, get ready for the ride. There's a lot of people that want to hear your story. I would just say, keep in mind what's important. They will run you ragged. So
Absolutely.
keep it in tune with what you want, what brings joy into your life. Yeah, but welcome home and congrats.
That's awesome. That's a big thing for me because I did a lot of stuff as far as pro-social stuff and programming and creating programs over the past few years. And I had to make so many adjustments to operate inside the DOC guidelines or whatever officer I was working for's guidelines. And now that I'm out, I can't really compromise my values anymore. Like I'm not really willing to do that. Obviously, there's rules that I have to follow, especially with work and ethics and all that, and that's awesome. I have no issues with that at all. But as far as if it doesn't align with my mission, my why, then I won't put myself out there for it. And it's really good advice. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Great. Well, if nobody has any questions, George, thank you so much for taking time to speak with us. And I'll be sure to share your information and get you connected to Kenny and anybody else who may want to, see all the awesome things you're doing. And thank you so much. Just to kind of shine a spotlight on George, he helped us so much. Y'all know him with the Inside Out Network. Like he was saying with Maddie, he helped so many returning citizens with their reentry and, with our network. And I just wanted to say thank you. You're so valuable. And so thank you so much.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah. Alrighty. So next is Melissa here. I hope so. She was here earlier. Our next presenter. Unless Araceli, did you have something?
Melissa's next, so we're good. Thank you.
Okay, so I do not know how to share the PowerPoint. Miranda.
I got you. Let me see.
Cool.
Let's see. Go on one participant. So do you have the little share button on the bottom? It's a little arrow that
Yes.
points up.
Share
Okay.
screen, yeah.
Okay, once you click that, it'll pop up a couple boxes. And if you already have the PowerPoint in there, just click that. If not, then I have the PowerPoint and I can just go along as you tell me if that's easier.
I did not have the PowerPoint in there, so I'll let you do it.
Okay. Just give me 1 sec.
Sure.
Okay, can you see this?
I can.
All right, so when you say go, I'll search.
Okay, so yeah, my name's Melissa. Some of you guys know me, some of you guys don't. But right now I am paired up with Administer Justice. This is a very short PowerPoint. So you could go to the next slide, Miranda. It's a very short PowerPoint. If you click the YouTube link, it'll show you a very short video. So I am not hearing any sound. The words are on the screen. It is a center that helps with legal issues. It's very similar. If you're familiar with legal aid, it's like Christian flavored legal aid is basically what it is. So most of these slides just give you the information. You book an appointment. Don't call the hotline. You just use the website. It's $30 and you meet with a lawyer. If you have to meet, 2 or 3 times, you don't have to pay again. When you schedule your appointments, somebody will call you to confirm and they go over what the issues are with you. You bring any documentation that you have, and when you show up, somebody welcomes you. There may or may not be donuts. No guarantees, but there's also resources that we give out. You meet with the attorney, you tell them what's up, they talk to you about what your options are. And then afterwards, you meet with somebody, probably me, and I just make sure that they understand what it is that the attorney explained to them. If they, have any other issues where they need some community resources. After that, if they want to, they can meet with a prayer champion, and that person will pray with them. So basically, yeah, it's a nationwide program. It was established in around 2000. It's changed a little bit over the years, but you meet with someone, they help you, and pretty much that's the program. Right now, we are looking for especially like volunteer attorneys. So if anybody here knows an attorney who would be interested in just, basically 2 hours a month is what that is. Yeah, there's going to be information in the slides for contacting someone. Most of these programs are based in a church. This program for Southern Arizona is based with Southern Arizona Salvation Army. So there is a center here in Tucson, and that information's on the slides. And yeah, so basically it's the Tucson Amphi Community Center. If you're aware of where that's at, that's like Prince and Fort Lowell area. It's on the bus line. Generally, it's the second Saturday of the month. That is subject to availability, but when you go into schedule, basically like those are the options you're going to see. Christy Church, Captain Christy Church is the person that you can contact if you know an attorney or you have an attorney who wants to volunteer. We currently have one attorney and looking for more, because the more the merrier. But besides that, this is my email address. It's .net. So you can email me at that address if you have questions. My role with the program is client advocate / community outreach. So I meet with people, I give them information, I make sure that they're all sorted. And I also outreach to the community. So that's pretty much what it is for this program. So again, if you happen to know anybody who is a lawyer and wants to volunteer, we would love to speak with them. Likewise, come the fall, I am going to be needing to start an internship for my Bachelor's of Social Work. So if anyone has something like that with their organization where I can be supervised by somebody who meets the criteria, that would be super helpful. But does anybody have any questions?
Is there like a slight, I mean, you say it's $30, does it matter income or is it for low? How does, is it like legal aid where you have to have income parameters or anything like that?
No, the questions I've gotten is something similar to that, like, $30, what's up with that? It's $30. If you don't have the $30, but you're with an organization, the organization can pay the $30 for you. Questions about like, oh, well, where did your funding come from? There's no funding. It's me in the position that I'm doing, Captain Christie, who facilitates the program through the Salvation Army. We have the person who does the scheduling and the administration stuff, and her name is Holly. And then we have the lawyer, and basically that's the four of us. There's a big underlying support structure, mostly back east. The farther west you get with programs, like the less they seem to be. So this has been going on for quite a bit back east. If anybody's familiar with the SOAR Works program, where you can have somebody help you get approved for disability, really big back east, not so much here. So it's kind of a pattern, but yeah, that's pretty much what it is.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Melissa. Thank you for your patience with the sharing. I think we did pretty good. And I'll also make sure to send that out with everything. So yeah.
Adventures in Zooming.
It's been a fun one today.
Yeah.
Really has. Alrighty. If nobody has any questions for Melissa, then Araceli, do you have something?
No, I think that's great, Melissa. Thank you for sharing that information. What church, you said it was in the Amphi School District, the church or the
So
location?
yeah, it's through the Salvation Army, and they've got various locations around town, but the location that this program is currently at is their Amphi Community Center. It's across the street from Amphi. It's fairly big. So there's like a gymnasium and a donut location area in there. So yeah, it's basically located there. It was previously at the location on Speedway and Dodge, but it's recently moved to the Amphi location.
Alrighty. Thank you, Melissa. Araceli, it's a little busy. Oh, no? Okay.
Yeah, sorry, my kids. Yeah, no, that's great. Thank you so much, Melissa. I think that's a great resource for a lot of people, that are struggling to survive and then have to deal with legal issues.
Yeah, we started, it's been a long ramp up, but we are ramped now, and we have had probably about like 5 people that we've interacted with of various issues. And at the times when our current lawyer cannot be there, we do have somebody in the Phoenix area who does it over Zoom. Not the best, but still an option. And he's a former judge from Michigan. So it's quite a sturdy little program. But the general situation with it is, because it's rooted in the idea that your church is doing it, you have already a built-in community, and somebody's going to know a lawyer or somebody who bakes cookies and that sort of thing who will volunteer. But in that, ours is rooted in the Salvation Army. That's making the recruitment a little bit harder. So we have the one lawyer, we're looking to get some more. And then for additional support, we might be looking into PIMA, their social work program, to see if any of the students want to volunteer for their service instruction credits and stuff like that.
I wonder if have you connected with Andy? Can they be students?
Yeah, yeah, there's been a lot of almost connections, but in that it's taken a very long time to get this sorted out. I wanted to wait until we were as sorted as we were going to get before I started reaching out and either soliciting or offering or something like that. So I'm currently taking some classes over at the U of A, and I'm going to toddle on over to the law college and just basically share that information over there as well.
That's great. Anybody else have questions?
Nope, I think we're good. So the next that we had up was Sam. Has some cool updates. If Sam's still here, I hope. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
How's it going? That was an interesting way to start a meeting. I've never seen that before on a Zoom meeting. So I was like, wow. Anyway, I am here and I'm honored to be here again today, Miranda and Araceli and Kenny and all the folks here on the call. Thank you, George and Melissa, for your presentations. That's really really cool stuff. And my reasoning for being here is I am the operations manager for Cloud Covered Streets, and we are officially announcing as of yesterday, our trailer is going to be here within 2 to 3 weeks. The new one is being built and refurbished, and well, it's being built and finalized is my word there. And the previous one is coming to Tucson. It's going to be, we don't have a date, but it will be here very soon. And we're going to have a big launch party. We're going to be painting the inside, cleaning the outside. There's a new wrap on it, so it looks very nice and fresh and so clean, especially after a good shower. Anyway, that was a kind of a pun, but I'm just excited to be a part of this. And it's called Cloud Covered Streets. We are on Facebook, Cloud Covered Streets Tucson, and we're on Instagram at CCS_Tucson. Really, this started with a dream of a mobile shower unit and a lot of help from Cloud Covered Streets, and our team here in Tucson have really built this thing from scratch. It's really cool to also be in partnership with some local agencies. I've been in touch with Chris Chavez from Hope Incorporated. He is planning to be part of the weekly shower programs. I've also been in touch with Chicanos por la Casa, who is going to be doing access enrollment on site. And we're just doing all kinds of cool things here in Tucson with the mobile shower unit. We have showers, laundry, haircuts, food, and employment for those experiencing homelessness out there in this community. And so it's just really exciting to come from where I came from, being a person who was out there under the stars and in and out of jails and institutions, and now be in a position to work with a team and develop this program here in Tucson. Thank you. I couldn't hear the clap, but I appreciate that. There we go.
It's there, Sam. It's there.
Thank you. Thank you. And some update real quick. We did receive some funding from Steve Kozaczyk, who former city councilman, earmarked some funding through La Frontera. And we have also partnered with Nova Home Loans, who gave us some finances. We did receive the rest of the funding for $80,000 from Arizona Complete Health. And so that's huge. And we're really excited to get going. All the pieces are kind of starting to follow together real quickly. And I'm just really blessed to be a part of this whole deal and see people's lives changed.
Sam, real quick, I just want to say, man, what I love about what you do out in the community is it's nothing that anybody has to sign up for or that you're tracking, personal data on, right? And this population, already in a vulnerable situation, don't want to give out a lot of that, and therefore don't really receive a lot of the services. So commend what you're doing. Glad that you're out there supporting this population and just meeting them where they're at. So glad to see you taking it off, man. Good job.
Thanks, Danny. You've always been a huge part of the collaboration here in Tucson as well. And thank you to you also. I appreciate that feedback. And it's been great to be connected with Kenny Curiel and now Francis Martinez from DES, Arizona at Work program, and everybody there has been great. And I've heard there's going to be some media and maybe some free food and a drone at the launch party. So I'll keep you all updated.
Wow. So
Not
Sam,
for surveillance, but I'm just saying for camera angles.
You're giving us a heads up.
Absolutely.
That's so cool. Thank you.
Sam, have you do you need funding, or do you need shampoo? Do you need, I know that Primavera collects the medicine, the pill bottles, the empty pill bottles, to put shampoo in there to give everybody what they need. I mean, I don't know if these have dispensers. I don't know what it looks like. Can we just
Well, you'll have to
an
be
open house?
You'll have to be the first one in line. I'm not saying there'll be a huge line, but you'll have to be there. We have plans for dispensers on the 2 shower units, the 2 shower stalls. And we have a connection with Arizona Roots Property Management, who's already given us these huge bottles of refillable solution for the body wash, shampoo, and soap. And so in each of the 2 stalls, there'll be dispensers on the walls, saving waste and all that kind of stuff. And then the other 3rd stall is a laundry where there'll be 2 washers and 2 dryers. And so they also have given us lots and lots of laundry soap. And right now our biggest need is a truck from a dealership, because we don't have a truck to pull the trailer. And I'm a big boy, but I can't really pull this 10,000 pound trailer. So anyway, we need a truck and partner with the dealership, and also sponsorships from local businesses to continue to keep us on the streets.
Hey, Sam.
Yes, ma'am.
I don't think George is still on right now, but he actually is connected, and on Ion we have like a car dealership thing. So I'm gonna connect you with them.
Really?
I'm still on.
Oh, George, would you like to
George!
explain? Thank you.
We need a truck. Oh, he's on mute.
We can't hear you, George.
There we go. Sorry. I'm more familiar with Google Meet. This is the second time I've been on Zoom, so I apologize. The guy that was standing behind me before is the guy who actually owns Freebird Auto. I'm helping him today move into his new dealership. So if you want, I can grab him and maybe he'd be better for you to talk to.
Absolutely. Maybe I don't know right now. Or are you talking maybe connect on the email or something?
Okay.
My phone number's on there. Let me
Perfect.
put. Do we have a messenger chat on this? I'll put my email on there. And then you can. That'd be awesome, George, just to connect with somebody that's willing to help us get moving.
He's actually the guy that I changed my life with a couple of years ago. He got out 2.5 years before me, and he opened up a business catering to guys getting out of prison, selling them cars. So basically, in business language, that means high risk, bad credit. And usually with the high risk, bad credit guys, they're getting charged like Cactus Jacks, whatever, 30%. He does 11% across the board for the high risk guys and gets people in the vehicles. When I walked out that gate, he handed me keys to a car and said, "Hey man, let's get to work." So his heart's definitely in the reentry zone, helping people get up and get moving. So yeah, I'd love to absolutely connect you guys and see what you guys can do.
That's awesome. I'd be willing to drive up to Phoenix, maybe take a Greyhound so I can drive a new truck back home.
Yeah, we can definitely get something figured out, man. I've seen him work miracles. I've been sending guys to him from the Second Chance Center and guys that have asked me for help, like I said, for over a year now. And I'm like, oh, there's no way he's gonna get that guy into a car. And he gets it figured out, man. It's pretty cool to watch. He does really good stuff.
Wow. Yeah, we are looking for a donation of a truck, and we'll connect for sure, George. I put my email on there. Shoot me an email, and then and we'll go from there. I look forward to working with you and going from there, man. Thank you, George.
Absolutely, no worries.
Yeah, man.
Okay, when you say truck, can you be specific? Because as people, some of us don't understand, like I'm not quite processing.
Our
But
ideal Yes, our ideal truck is either a Toyota Tundra Duramax 3/4 ton that can pull 8 to 10,000 pounds, or a Dodge Ram, or maybe even a GMC. I hate to leave out Chevy and Ford, but anyway, this could get dicey here. But no, we're looking at some really just a bigger truck, not just like a 1500 or something kind of medium sized, more like a 3/4 ton at minimum, and also something that has low miles. Obviously, we're hoping for a dealership to donate one to us, and we've had a lot of communication just in the last 2 weeks. Me and my team here are really hustling and trying to get this done. So that's the story on that.
Awesome. Well, at the very least, I'm sure he's got some contacts that he could put you in to spread the word.
Absolutely. That's cool, man. What's your email? Do you have an email, George? Or maybe.
Yeah, it's George Nolan, GeorgeNolan 2021 @gmail.com.
Gotcha. Okay. Thank you.
No worries.
Okay, well, thank you, Sam, for those updates. It's so exciting. And thank you, George, for your little collaboration. Love that.
Absolutely.
So I don't know if Desiree is still on or
I'm here.
yay, thank you. Okay, Desiree, if you want to give some updates about what's going on with you.
Oh, we got a whole bunch of stuff. Let's see if I can share my screen. This is to keep me on track because I have a tendency to go off track pretty easily. Can everybody see that?
Yes.
Perfect. So as Miranda said, my name is Desiree Washevsky. I'm currently the Community Impact Manager for Eastern Arizona for Community Medical Services. Just so you guys know, too, I was previously incarcerated, and I started out as a peer with CMS about 4 years ago and very quickly moved my way up through the ranks. So it's something that I've been doing and working with this company for quite a while. I'm not going to go through everything that CMS does. Most of you guys know that we are an outpatient opioid treatment program. So we utilize medications like methadone, Suboxone, Vivitrol, along with counseling, peer support, case management, and we have our own correctional health staff to help people stay on track and get on track from opioid use disorder. So one of the big things that we had launch recently was our Recovery Connect app. So we have our own app through CMS that we created and it's made it easier for patients to connect with counselors and get real meaningful support in the moments that matter. So when one of our clients downloads the app, they can scan their counselor's QR code that's in the clinic and they can get connected directly with their counseling. They get rewarded for dosing, for coming into treatment. They can work towards keep track of their take-home goals. They can stay connected with their counselor. Some of the things that the clients are saying that they like the most about it is because they can link up for their counselor, and it's a two-way communication with the counselor and the client now. So the counselor can answer back through the app, and the client can actually send messages through the app. So it's a little bit more way for counselors and clients to communicate in real time. They can track their thoughts, their triggers, their feelings. They have stuff on there to keep them accountable to their goals. They can upload photos and the reasons why that they're in recovery, families, pets, whatever's driving them to stay in recovery, and then connecting with someone who believes in you and checking in on yourself. It also provides links to support groups outside of the clinic. That way, if they need meetings or anything else like that, and those are available and that's something that they want to pursue, it directly links them to where they can find those meetings throughout the city. So 91% of CMS patients using the Recovery Connect app say that the app helped them prevent them from taking a step backwards. This is some more things that the clients and people have to say about the app. Had a client tell me that while their partner decided to go out and use, she stayed home and worked through different activities in the app. So that's one thing. There's different little activities for them on there. Some people are more open to communicating through text. I know it's a little bit easier to kind of write down your thoughts and how you're truly feeling in a text message rather than picking up that phone and calling somebody. So the kind of dynamic of sharing and stuff has changed. So we were able to kind of adapt to that, and any notes or any communication that the clients make in the app to communicate with their counselor, and any responses the counselor makes back to the client automatically gets pulled into their chart. So we have a documented record of things going back and forth between the counselor and the client. So we're also able to check on clients that we may not have seen in a while. So if they're absent from treatment, we can send a message, say, hey, are you okay? Or, we hope to see you back soon, or something like that, trying to encourage them to re-engage in treatment. You don't have to be a patient of CMS to download the app. If you scan that QR code on there, you can kind of take a look and see what the app has to offer. As far as the daily tools and stuff like that, you wouldn't be able to connect with a counselor. The counselor is only available to our clients, but you at least be able to check out and see what's going on with the app itself. Let's see. We've also added 2 new medications to the other 3 that we offer. We're doing Sublocade and Brixadi. Sublocade, they're both injectable forms of buprenorphine. So Sublocade is an extended release, 1 time a month injection. Prior to starting the injection, the person does have to be on 60 milligrams of Suboxone for about 7 days. And there's little to no withdrawal symptoms after discontinuing of the medication. Brixadi is another one, and another extended release injection. This one can be adjusted to a weekly injection or a monthly injection. You only have to use sublingual buprenorphine or Suboxone 1 day prior to being able to start the injection. So that's another option for clients depending on what their needs are. But it limits the time that they need to come into the clinic and, remember to take the medication and things like that. So those are two new medications that we're pretty excited about. Just general updates. We did hire a new correctional health liaison here for the Southern Arizona region. Josh Kaufman started with CMS a couple months ago, so you'll see his name popping up on different things here and there. He's our correctional health liaison for all of Southern Arizona, so that's Graham, Greenlee, Cochise, Santa Cruz, and Pima County. You'll see my stuff kind of start disappearing from the correctional health side of things, as much as I don't want to let that stuff go. I have control issues a little bit. I'm working on that. But a lot of these projects have been my baby for a while. But I need to make sure that somebody else can come in and kind of sustain those things. So Dante McNeil will be stepping up as a correctional supervisor for the entire state of Arizona. He was the correctional health supervisor for kind of like Maricopa area, but now he's going to be for the entire state. We did pilot a psych services program here in Tucson. Based on the success of that, we know that substance use disorder and mental health disorders kind of work hand in hand. So rather than sending our clients somewhere else to get those mental health services, we have piloted that program here in Tucson, and it was very, very successful. So that should be expanding statewide. I think our biggest project update that we had is our coordination of care with Arizona Department of Corrections, Reentry, and Rehabilitation. So for those of you that don't know, they did start their Suboxone program, and for people that are incarcerated, so people on the yard are able to start on the medication, and we're working to link care once they get out. They've also taken over methadone, so patients are no longer required to taper off methadone. They'll be able to stay on the medication, both in Perryville and in Tucson, and be able to, continue making sure they maintain that stability even while they're incarcerated. So what we're doing on the back end is doing a lot of legwork and a lot of running around and a lot of coordinating care with Department of Corrections. I think last I checked, we had over 500 open referrals of people releasing within the next 90 days that have picked CMS to continue care with. So our correctional health team has been meeting with people before they get released through Google Meets, and are trying to answer any questions they have, trying to, making follow-up calls if for some reason they don't show up for their after they're released. We are able to transport people, so if somebody doesn't have a ride from their release, if we have enough notice, we're able to coordinate transportation, actually go pick that person up rather than getting transported by DOC into the place where they're releasing to. We are statewide, so it makes it a little bit easier for us. We kind of have a correctional health person in every area that is closest to the prison, so we're able to, make that available to them. But yeah, so it's been busy trying to keep up with all these DOC referrals. But the team is on it, and that's probably one of their favorite things to do, is to actually be able to meet with somebody that's still incarcerated, give them that little bit of hope that once they get out, they have a team waiting to support them. And making sure that we're there and let them know that there's those of us, and most of us on the correctional team have had previous justice involvement, whether it was jail or prison. So we kind of know that feeling of getting released back out into the wild and not knowing where it's going to take you, because sometimes those walls feel a little bit safer than what we like to admit. But it's making sure that they have that support when they're getting released. Any questions?
I have a question. So when someone gets out, I've been paying attention to people at work too, but when someone gets out and they're on that, what's the longevity? Is that like a lifetime time, or is this like something that they eventually try to wean them off of, or how does that work?
So it's up to the patient. It's up to our clients. We don't force them off the medication. We don't tell them they need to stay on the medication. If they let us know that they're ready to get off, or we make a taper protocol. We have a taper protocol that we follow, or our providers follow, and we'll work with what's best for them. Some people are okay dropping 5 milligrams every week. Other people want to do it a little bit slower. You know, a lot of times when they, with methadone, once they get to about 10 milligrams, that's when they usually start reporting feeling a little bit more of the withdrawal symptoms. And we may slow the taper down or decrease the time frame that we're looking at. But it's all individualized, and there's no one size fits all approach to this. Some people have been on the medication for years and years and years. Other people, you know, utilize the medication short term. I can say that it's medically recommended to be on the medication for a year. Best outcomes and studies show are 2 years. So you have that post-acute withdrawal syndrome that lasts about 2 years. So if you can give another 2 years on the medication, you're going to have that brain chemistry stabilized to learn those coping mechanisms and be able to deal with triggers a lot better. I always tell guys that are releasing, give it 1 to 2 years after you get out, because you don't know what you're going to be dealing with and you don't want to rock the boat too much. You have everything coming at you at once. And yeah, the first couple of days you're on cloud 9, but then reality sets in on everything you have to do, X, Y, and Z. So don't forget to keep working on yourself. Part of the qualifications for our program is to have urine drug screens to kind of assess stability, but we also, counseling is part of the program. Counseling is mandatory. You have to have at least 1 counseling session per month to do that check-in, whether it's through the app and things like that. And peer supports check in on people. Our correctional health team is checking in on those that are getting released up to 30, 60, 90 days post-release. Most of the time we see people kind of follow the treatment within those first 30 days. So we're trying to give more attention to those people and follow up with them a little bit more.
Follow up to that question. So I get out, I'm on Access, but I start working. I get kicked off of Access. How does that funding work? Are most insurances covering that?
So for us, I can only speak for us, because I'm not sure what other program requirements have. We do take every form of access. We do take a lot of private insurances. TRICARE, we even take, you know, some military insurances and things like that. Private pay is usually our last resort. We do have grant funding available that we can slide people over to kind of help them get back on track. In terms of methadone, somebody tell me how much they think methadone costs a week.
$200.
$200, I heard. It's $70 a week.
Okay.
So it's pretty affordable. If you think about it, I know when I was out there using, I definitely spent more than $10 a day when I was using. But like I said, even that is our last resort. We try every way to fund somebody other than going to the private pay option, but it is relatively affordable for methadone. Suboxone, we did adjust. We don't do the strips anymore because the strips were more. We utilize the tablets instead because they were more cost effective, especially for our clients that were on private pay. But again, private pay is usually the last resort. We do have some grant funding available. We can slide somebody to if we need to.
That's awesome. I love what you're doing. It's 100% saving lives. I see it inside the prisons, because you talk about drug use in a prison, you think that's the worst part. It's not really the worst part. The worst part is the people that are using drugs that are getting smashed off yards because they owe $40 and they have 4 dudes go beat them up over it.
Yeah.
The needle sharing that goes along with it, all the bad decisions that go along with it. The medically assisted treatment, the harm reduction has brought the stakes down quite a bit. Are there some other effects? Absolutely. But has the medically assisted treatment that you guys are providing made the prison yards a lot safer? 1,000%. 1,000%. And that's, I'm not even just talking about the drugs. I'm talking about the ripple effects that come from substance use inside the prisons. So good job on that, and thank you.
Yeah, that's one of the things I know early on, the COs and stuff like that were worried about diversion and things like that. And you know, part of that was, and they were worried about, you know, well, they're bringing it in illegally anyways, and they're abusing it that way. How is us offering it going to make a difference? Well, they're making $300 pretty much a strip off of Suboxone, an 8 milligram strip. They're making $300 off of that. And
Absolutely.
if you take that piece out, there's less people owing other people money. You don't have people saying, hey, you need to put money in this person's books, or calling their family and bugging them because they owe money, or they owe a food box, or they owe this and that. So it kind of takes that piece out of that for that part of the things. And hopefully, you know, if you're able to access the medication on your own, there's less chances of it being brought in from the streets. So, I mean, it's a great side effect to it. I don't think the COs anticipated impacting it like that. They thought it was going to create more of a problem. But I'm glad to hear that it's working out better for people.
Well, even trying to explain harm reduction or medically assisted treatment, even when I first heard about it, I hated it. I was like, oh, sobriety, 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 you know, but if my sister or my brother or someone I cared about was suffering from addiction or substance use, I would absolutely rather them be on medically assisted treatment than behind a dumpster somewhere smoking fentanyl or using a needle. It's a step safer. It's a steps in the right direction. So trying to explain it to law enforcement, I couldn't even imagine. I wouldn't want that job.
I do that all the time. That's my job. I love it.
Well, kudos.
Yeah. I had a friend of mine that got released from Kingman prior to all this Suboxone program started in DOC. He was released from Kingman. I met him that night, took him to the halfway house. He was the entire time in the car telling me he's not going back to the streets. He's not going to be one of those degenerates, as he was calling them. I'm not doing X, Y, and Z. And that night he left the halfway house. He overdosed and was revived by Narcan on Friday, and overdosed and died by Sunday. So he wasn't even out a week. Ironically, on my birthday, there's a billboard going up on I-10 and I think Tangerine for people that have died of overdoses, fentanyl overdoses, and his picture is going up there. So I'm supporting his mom now in trying to kind of keep her a little bit sane after all this, you know, stuff happens. So, you know, it's something that I'm kind of doing on my own time when it comes to that. So if they're having a billboard unveiling that morning on April 27th at, I think, 9 a.m. Let me see if I can get the information real quick. So if you
Yeah,
see
the
people out
flip
there-
side, you know, for those of us who work behind the walls, is like $21 disrupts like all the programming, the volunteers, everything that we are trying to do to prepare them for release. So I've
I've already started talking to the Bureau of Prisons down here in Tucson and Safford. So we're hoping to set something up with you guys as well relatively soon. I'll be speaking on Friday at the Arizona and District Courts Conference for the federal prison system about bringing harm reduction into federal pretrial and probation.
Nice.
So
Nice. That's really good.
9 a.m. to 11, if anybody's available, I-10 and Tangerine on the west side of the freeway is where the billboard's going to be going up, and there's going to be a lot of people gathered outside. So if anybody's around and wants to attend, I can put the information in the chat.
Would you like me to share that with like the whole coalition when I send out things, Desiree?
Yeah, I can cut this down and send it to you.
That'd be great. Thank you.
Miranda, is that the end of our agenda?
Yeah, I think that's all I got. Thank you, Desiree, so much. You're doing so awesome. Like, you're just out there. I am so grateful. Thank you also for taking time to speak today, last minute. I owe you one. Thank you.
No problem.
If I can share then, I don't know if anybody else has anything to share. So we're having a reentry simulation on April 30th, as you know. April, as Jennifer has in her background, Second Chance Month. So we're really trying to get as many people on board to come and give the inmates an experience, or our adults in custody an experience of how it feels like to be recently released. we might need to modernize some of these things like, you know, tap and all that good stuff that is happening nowadays. But so we're gonna run through the whole complex. I know we're crazy, but we really want to be able to service the entire community at FCC Tucson. So you can join us. We would love for you guys to let us know. Just send us an email. I'll put my email in the chat. And then we will let you know what we need from you in order to make it happen. We need to be 3 years post-release. And if you're on probation, then we need 3 years post-release. On probation, we need your probation officer to say it's a thumbs up. But we really appreciate it. But here's the other thing that we've been recently tasked with, and I don't know the date yet, but in May, we're having our transformational leadership class, which is the next level of leadership in the Bureau of Prisons, at least at a local level. And they want us to start incorporating the reentry simulations. So I think that's amazing to be able to have, you know, the next round of correctional leaders be able to participate, I mean, in a reentry simulation this early, like that most of them are not supervisors this early into their career or trying to decide that next level, then we definitely, you know, I'm happy. So we'll need help with that. So we'll be reaching out again. I don't know. I have to get the date in May, but we're like nonstop this week. So it's crazy. Did anybody have a hand up? I thought I saw a hand up. No. Okay. And by the way, Miranda, thank you for everything that you do to get us all together and then all the troubleshooting you did today. Thank you.
I'm so sorry.
And the early entertainment.
I was waiting for the junk. I really was.
Normally you have to pay for that stuff.
I have to download it on my computer now, so I'm a little worried. I'll have to go get that. That's okay. But thank you all so much. I appreciate all of you who presented today and spoke. All of you guys are doing such amazing things, and I love to see like the collaboration and getting the resources out there. I appreciate you very much. And yeah, if we got nothing else, then you guys have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll be sending out follow-up to this with all the links and emails and all that good stuff. So thank you guys.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Miranda.
Thank you,
Bye,
George.
everyone.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Have a
thank
good
you,
day.
George. We'll continue to pray for you.
Awesome.
There's a
Thank you.
lot
I need
of
all
us
the
out
prayers.
here. Yeah, well, there's a
Awesome.
lot of us out here that will come alongside you, and if you need to be talked off the ledge, I'll send you my number. You know,
I appreciate that. I'm
I
gonna
do it
let
often.
I'm gonna let Maricopa County know they need to turn up their icebreakers too, because your guys' icebreaker was the next level.
Yeah, I'll let Maddie know. Pop that in your ASU class. Oh my gosh, thank
Oh.
you, George, so much.
Thank you so
That's a
much. You
good
guys
way
have
of
a great
looking
day.
at it, an icebreaker.
All right, you take care,
Have a
everyone.
good day.
All
Bye-bye.
right, have a good night, everybody.